So let's get right into the good, the bad, and the fugly from NFL Week 18. Last week of the NFL season, which was probably one of the funnest final weeks of an NFL season that I can remember, at least in the recent history. There was a lot at stake for a lot of teams. There was a lot of moving parts. Give me what you think was the good from Week 18.
It's tough, man. I want to say it's a tie for me. First of all, I'm glad Don's not on with us because he'd be rubbing this in my face right now. Mason Rudolph
Yeah,
looking like a QB1. Dare I say,
yeah.
about to go on a Joe Flacco type run in the playoffs, maybe. Don said he would be a Hall of Famer when he was drafted, but Mason Rudolph looking like a competent quarterback. So I got to go with that as the good.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph and the Steelers are definitely good. I mean, Mike Tomlin. Hey, round of applause for Mike Tomlin. This guy,
Shout out to
hey,
him, man.
17 straight seasons of winning records. You can't duplicate that. People wanted to fire him. Any pitiful, pathetic, spoiled Steelers fan that was calling for Mike Tomlin's job. This is what he. That's what Mike Tomlin's doing right now. That's crazy. George Pickens, soon to be future ex-Steeler. Nobody got time for his foolishness and all his crybaby shit that he's doing over there. He's on a 10-7 or 10-6. What is it? 10-7 winning team in the playoffs. Like, knock it off, bud. Knock it off. My good is the Buffalo Bills. Who would have thunk it? And it's really it's not about just Week 18 for me. It's the fact that the Buffalo Bills were able to come back from 6-6, right? Win the division. Like, their scenario was be the 2 seed or be out of the playoffs, right? Like, if a couple things obviously would have happened. Now I think them being out of the playoff scenario was a little bit more of it just was something that could have happened that actually probably wasn't going to happen. They needed like 3 teams that were all probably going to win to lose and blah, whatever. But more than likely they would have ended up the 6th or the 7th seed. So their choices were really the 7th seed and the 2 seed. But the fact that they were even put themselves into that position is something that I thought was good. And the reason why their performance was good was that they turned the ball over 3 times. Josh Allen specifically. Could have been 4 with that when he hit Van Ginkel in the helmet, and Sherfield made a beautiful catch in the back of the end zone. Truly spectacular catch. But
He couldn't do that when he played for us, but that's beside the point.
now he let us up a couple times last year when he was with the Dolphins. Yeah, I remember there was like a big run.
In the locker room after the game,
Not in the
I don't
game,
remember
not in
him
the
making
game.
too many big plays on the field for us. But I'll digress to the expert.
Well, either way, outside of those turnovers, it's hard to you look at that and say Josh Allen did terrible, but he went 30 for 38 with like 421 yards of total offense. And then so it's Josh Allen is agony and ecstasy rolled into one. Like, I've accepted it. I'm not a fan of turnovers, but Josh Allen is just one of those people that will give you 3 turnovers a game, but you know what else he'll do in the same game? Give you 4 touchdowns, and it'll be enough to win the game. And you know what? I'll live with it. Fuck it. At this point, it's when you have 400 yards of offense and you're responsible for it, you're going to have turnovers. I get it. Do I love the red zone turnovers? Would I rather you just turn it over on their side of the field if you have to do it? But he's always going to try to, excuse me, he's always going to try to make a play. And I appreciate that about him. And more times than not.
Oh, you appreciate that now.
Well, I appreciate.
You describe it. You describe a Josh Allen. You know who he's starting to sound like now? One of your favorite quarterbacks of all time. You just described Matt Stafford.
Oh my God. Nah, hell no.
You just described Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford is a loser.
Touchdowns, turnovers, and yards. Everything you can handle.
The difference between Josh Allen and Matt Stafford is that Matt Stafford is a perennial loser, and Josh Allen is a perennial winner.
Super Bowl.
Nah, the Rams won the Super Bowl. The Matt Stafford was terrible in that game.
Pretty sure he had something.
No, not really. But so he tried to give away the game. If you want to be real with it, he had a game-sealing interception called back for some bogus penalty or some. I got to rewatch that Super Bowl. But he almost gave away that game, and I believe he had 2 interceptions in that game as well. But anyway, the Bills get my good just for simply being a different team. Not like Diggs did have that one big catch. Could have had 2. Josh Allen kind of overthrew him on that one. But the fact that they weren't so Josh Allen reliant heading into the playoffs, having massive amounts of momentum, then hosting a game against the Steelers Don's Steelers, which we probably should win, but that's more momentum that they could get. And I'm only saying that because TJ Watt's not playing. If TJ Watt was playing, I'd be a little bit more nervous. I don't trust Mason Rudolph. It's supposed to be snowing and like 40-mile-per-hour winds, which caters right into Buffalo's hands. I can't wait. I don't know if Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, only Josh Allen can throw touchdowns in that weather.
Well, okay. I obviously not.
No, I agree. I definitely caters toward Buffalo. This is why I hate playing the Bills, because when you play in Buffalo at the end of the year, you know this shitty weather's on deck. It's like playing the Browns. Like, you know what you're going to get.
Well, it's your fault because you guys are the only cold weather or warm weather team in a cold weather division. And this wouldn't be an issue if they took your boy Germ's advice and realigned all divisions by geography and not however we do it.
Or like you and I have been saying for a couple years now, just put Josh Allen in the dome. Like, if you had a dome, he'd have a Super Bowl. I'm confident.
You know who wants a dome? Your Miami Dolphins, which is my bad this week. Miami choking away the division, choking away that game. And now they are rewarded by going, instead of hosting a playoff game versus Buffalo, they are going to Kansas City to play in negative 15-degree, snowy, blizzardy weather. And the only saving grace,
coldest game on the slate is us.
The only thing
on the slate, ridiculous.
The only saving grace is that you have the only one player you guys have been relying on knows how to play in that. So I'm expecting heavy dosages of Tyreek Hill catching 5-yard screen passes and trying to make something out of it. But they are getting my bad because Tua is giving me Jimmy Garoppolo vibes. I'm going to save the rest of that for later. I don't know if it's time to,
Oh, so he's a winner that we should build around, because you've been hyping up Jimmy Garoppolo's win stats like they are $1 million worthy.
No, what I'm saying is,
I guess we'll wait till we get to that point, because I can't wait for you to shift course on this.
I will, and I'm going to save it. But they're getting my bad not only for choking away the division, but choking away that game, because when Josh Allen gives you 3 turnovers, you have to be able to capitalize on that. And the reason why is, and I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler because it kind of hammers my point home. This whole time we've been treating Tua like a game changer, but he's a game manager. Josh Allen is a game changer. Not we. I'm saying we as a sports media, not you and I, smart football fans who know the truth.
Include me in this group.
Nah. We've been saying it, but as you know, they got him in the MVP. He made the Pro Bowl over Josh Allen. Josh Allen leads the league in touchdowns and passing yards.
I mean, but respectful. I mean, Tua did have a great season, and it's hard to put somebody that has that many turnovers. But I get where you're going with this, because we're probably going to agree. The only thing we're going to agree on probably on this show is when we get to that point.
What's your bad?
Oh, this is easy, man. Indianapolis Colts. Yeah. I mean, I love Shane Steichen. I think he's going to be a stud coach. I think the Colts' future is bright. But this is for the playoffs against the Texans. Win or go home. It is 4th and 1, and you need to convert this down to save your season. And you put the ball in the hands of Gardner Minshew and some running back named Godson.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I want the Godfather, who I paid all this money to, Jonathan Taylor. Get his ass out there and run the ball. This is what you paid him to do. And you decide to do a screen pass with Gardner Minshew and some 4th-string running back. And I feel bad for the dude. We posted it on social media where he felt terrible after the game. And I get that. I feel bad for the dude, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be hearing it for months. But that ain't on him. No. That's on Shane Steichen. Like, it's Gardner Minshew. Yeah. Like, you do not put the ball in his hands in any situation remotely as important as that situation was. Give it to Jonathan Taylor, run the rock. So that's my bad. Like, the Colts just throwing away their playoff hopes when they should have put their ball in the hands of their franchise player.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And then, Steichen wording the words, hey, Minshew, it's your fault, or whatever. Like, it's a bad look. You choke away the division. You had your shot, and you got to capitalize on it. Not to take anything away from the Texans. I just think when I watched that game, it was more about the Colts losing it than the Texans winning it.
Oh, for sure.
And so,
for sure.
And again, not to take, the Texans are great too. I think they could have won outright. It's just the Colts had that game won, and it was a lot. I don't know if Anthony Richardson could have done any better. I think if you look at Gardner Minshew, it's easy to judge and shit on Gardner Minshew, But when you look at his numbers and look at some of these games that they've won, he's actually been pretty damn good this season. And I'm not going to shit on Gardner Minshew. I like him. I like him as a person. I don't know if he's a starting caliber quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I think you can be a good quarterback without being a franchise quarterback. I think he can. I think he's like Ryan Fitzpatrick 2.0. I think he can just come in.
Is this a part of your New Year's resolution? I've never seen you be this nice and complimentary on the show, man. Like I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, man. What the hell's going on?
I'm trying to be a little bit
like this
more positive.
This germ is throwing me off my game. Like he's never this nice, man. What the hell going on?
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to be a different person, for my family. So my Fugly, now here's the other shoe, is the Falcons Saints game.
Here we go.
The whole thing. Atlanta, you fired your coach. Pitiful performance by you. Again, chance to win the division. You stumble out the gates. And then New Orleans. Who's in control of that team? Jameis Winston, who I don't know what the hell's going on with him, but he's sitting there acting like he's like he plays in garbage time minutes and he's changing plays for Jamal Williams so he can get his incentive. I get the thought of it, but you can't undermine your coach that way. And Shannon Sharp said on First Take that he would cut Jameis Winston, and people were giving him a little bit of shit for it. And I agreed with him. You can't have that guy in your locker room. You can't have a guy who will tell the team, we're going to ignore the coach. Because even though in spirit what Jameis did was a good thing for his teammate, I get where you would.
It was a good thing for the Atlanta Falcons too, because they got Arthur Smith the hell up out of there.
He was going to be out of there. I don't care what anybody says. He was gone anyway.
This guaranteed it. It was so embarrassing because Jameis did that. That caused Arthur Smith to have a breakdown and meltdown and scream at Dennis Allen after the game. Jameis is the hero that we didn't ask for it, but we deserve him, man. We need him.
The problem is you can't have the look that your coach cannot control its team.
I agree.
And so, again, in spirit, what Jameis did for Jamal Williams is nice. It's a good story. I dare I say it makes him a good teammate. But two things can be true at once. He could have done that for the most unselfish reason, and morally it might have been the right thing. But at the end of the day, you can't expect anybody else to listen to that coach if at any time the team can just override a decision he makes. That's the head coach. And if you're going to do something like that, then audible out of a victory formation or do something. And I think that's the problem with it. I don't think it was the fact that they did it, whether Dennis Allen knew about it or not. It was the fact that they did it out of victory formation. And so if you're going to do that and you actively admitted that the plan was to do that, then get out of victory formation and audible. Let Dennis Allen yell at you later. But you wanted to ensure Jamal Williams got that touchdown, and the best way to do that was the victory formation. And it's underhanded, it's Bush League, and it's also a good thing you did for your teammate. And I don't know why people are having a hard time, feel like they have to pick a side. And I thought it was pretty clear that both things can be true. Jameis Winston is a dickhead, and he was really nice about it to his teammate. It's the best way I can explain it. But you can't, if you're the Saints, you can't have that. And Jameis can say that it was a team decision, but I guarantee you, if Derek Carr was out there, that wouldn't have happened. If Taysom Hill was under center, that wouldn't have happened. Somebody had to bring that idea up, and it was definitely Jameis Winston, since he was answering all the questions about it. And so, that's my Fugly, is not only the game itself for Atlanta and their pitiful performance, but the antics and the theatrics after the game, or what went on at the end of that game with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, man. I mean, gotta love Jameis, man. He is who he is. He's always been this guy. My Fugly is, it's easy, man. It's the Miami Dolphins collapsing again against another good NFL team and choking the division away to the one team we could absolutely not give the home field advantage to. So that's the Fugly. I mean, you said it yourself. Josh Allen just starts to turn over super early, and we can't capitalize on that and run them out of the building in our home stadium. It's Fugly. I'm sorry. All the injuries, I get it. Defense played a hell of a game for most of the game, but I'm sorry. This is on Tua. This is a guy that we are trying to convince the world as a franchise quarterback that he deserves that next $200 million contract guaranteed. and he can't win a game at home against Josh Allen and his 50 turnovers. I'm sorry. As fugly as it gets, the Dolphins choke him.
Yeah, it's I mean, I talked about it earlier. I wanna give I like Mike McDaniel. I like his system. I don't know if it's a quarterback thing. I don't know if it was injuries. And it could be Mike McDaniel,
Can we,
but you guys have been had a good year, so I don't know what the deal is.
can we talk about that for a
Yeah.
second? I wasn't gonna bring it up, but at what point? Because I don't know if have you watched the Hard Knocks,
Yes. Yeah.
Dolphins in season one this
Mhm.
year. Like it's all the rage. Everyone
Yeah.
loves it. I mean, I got wives of my friends who don't even watch football saying like, "Oh my god, I love this show." So I mean, entertainment value, it is good. My wife made us watch it last night as soon as the episode dropped, so it's been pretty good. My thing watching that is, at what point do people start to turn on Mike McDaniel based on his persona and character and the way he acts and does things? Because I don't see that holding up very long if he continues to not win the big games. Like,
Yeah.
I love him. I think he's a brilliant X's and O's guy. But watching Hard Knocks, he just does not look like a coach to me. Like, you watch that show and I'm like, is he really motivating these guys? Or is he just letting the players play and just calling good plays? I mean, that's half the battle, but you also got to be a guy who, like, look, we're in a tough situation. I know Mike McDaniel can go into that locker room and straighten us up and command us to get back in this game. And like, I wonder if people are going to start calling him out for that if we don't start to win some of these games and capitalize on that promise that everyone thinks that we have.
You know, I would think it probably could start to happen after this postseason, depending on what happens in this Chiefs game. I think if you beat the Chiefs, but lose in the next round, you know, probably to the Bills,
It's a good
it's
look.
it's fine. Like you're okay now. You
Yeah.
know, it sucks that you didn't get to host the playoff game, but I think in general, a lot of people are. I think a lot of people accept that the Bills are a really good team when they're right. I think a lot of people just think this was a down year, quote unquote, for the Bills, which is funny to say because they somehow ended up the 2 seed, but that was more about math and just getting hot at the right time. The Dolphins have been consistently good all year. Now, if you want to criticize their strength of schedule, just like college, you can only play who you play. They look good. They put up 70 points. Like something was working, at some point.
Yeah, but we only put up like 15 to 18 points against any
Yeah.
playoff team. I mean, look, we had all these great moments, and then we went over to Germany, and the Chiefs ran
Yeah.
us out of the building. Like, it's the same thing last year. Like when Don was like, "Hey, like this Miami Dolphins team is the next up." I'm like, I don't know about that, man, because it's the same thing that I've always said. I have not bought into my Dolphins, and you see
Mhm.
me, I'm decked out. I got
Yeah.
a Ricky Williams
Yeah.
jersey on, so you know this shit is real. Like I'm a real fan. Grew up right around the corner from the stadium. Had to hear that stupid song every week. Can we? We are not legit until we can go into. I always said this. We're not legit until we can go on the road and Arrowhead and win a playoff game. And we're about to find out. I should have kept my mouth shut because now we got to go prove it in a snow game. And this is exactly why I don't buy into the Dolphins as a contender is because we can't beat the good teams, and we definitely can't go on the road
Right.
and beat the good teams. Like until they show me something else, I'm gonna remain the same. We're the Chargers. We're sexy during the regular season, but we're shit when it counts.